The squad jam intensifies as Llenn and M make their way closer to the end of this brutal competition. But Llenn is going to have to be careful as her greatest enemy is even closer than she realizes. SAO Alternative Gale Online returns with a super intense episode, picking up from the events of the very first episode of the series. We're back into the squad jam, and things are really exciting in this episode, which basically just amounts to a lot of really cool firefights and one ridiculous twist ending. So make sure to stay tuned for the post-credit scene of this episode, as it's going to completely paint M in a very different light. So, what's going on in this episode of Gale Online? After defeating the special squad from the first episode, there are only 3 remaining teams, and both Llenn and M decide to go to the coast, where suddenly they're ambushed by a bunch of dudes who are using hovercrafts. They're glorified airboats, but the way that the team uses them in this episode gives them complete control of the battlefield, as they can move on water and on land, which definitely puts a lot of pressure on both M and Llenn. But luckily, M comes up with this amazing plan. He reveals that he has this shield which he can lay down on the ground and snipe with, while Llenn will actually go around trying to scatter them and shoot them, which will allow him to pull the trigger. And pull the trigger he does. He actually reveals that he doesn't actually touch the trigger until he actually pulls it, which means you're not actually going to see the distinctive bullet line that we've seen in Gale Online. Basically what they're saying here is that in real life, M has the ability to actually shoot a gun, and he's trained himself to do that, which I think is pretty solid. It really paints him in a completely different light, and I can't wait to learn more about what this guy is like in real life, especially considering I always thought he was just some sort of weird, ex-military tough guy, but the way the episode ends is kind of strange. So Llenn and M are able to take out these team, mostly because of M's ability to just snipe the hell out of them. But at the end of the episode, they get ambushed by this other team that was in the desert, which is this group of hardened ladies. Some of them actually appear in the intro of the show, so I can't wait to see what their deal is going to be, but they're probably going to be a part of the main cast. So Llenn and M decide to get in one of these hovercrafts and make their way across the coast, and they prepare for the next battle, getting their weapons, healing themselves, when suddenly, out of nowhere, M decides to point his gun directly at Lenn's head. He apologizes, and the episode ends. But there is a post-credit scene where we get to see that she actually manages to not only dodge this, but actually get the jump on M by pointing her P90 directly at his temple, which causes him to immediately break down and start crying out of nowhere. So what's the rundown on this episode of Sword Art Online, Alternative Gale Online? This one got back to more of the spirit of the very first season, which I thought was really freaking awesome. It was also just really intense how everything was handled, and this was definitely the best showcase for the character of M. I loved when he brought out that big ridiculous shield, slammed it on the ground, and explained the material that it was actually composed of. It's actually made from the same stuff they use for spaceships, at least in the world of Gale Online. Llenn was also a lot of fun in this episode, if only for the fact that you can't judge this character by her appearance. She's this super adorable pink little devil, but man, she will just destroy you with her speed. Although she actually did manage to get shot in this episode by a sniper, but luckily this is a video game. They can just heal themselves up. But I loved how at the very end of the episode, she actually managed to get the slip on M, which is definitely, I think, the most intriguing thing about this episode. The first half is basically just all raw action, and you know what? I'm okay with it. It's intense, it's great, it's strategic, and it's well animated. But it's that final scene that really sold me on this episode right here. Is I'm really curious as to what M is doing, and for him to apologize and beg for his life leads me to believe that this was some sort of ruse that was kicked up by Pito, as he said he had this little note and he can only read it at 1500 hours. He looks at it once and then he puts a gun right at her head. So this could be some sort of test that was concocted by Pito, and she's using M as a means of doing this, which means these two characters probably have something of an interesting relationship in real life, and what that is still kind of a mystery. And honestly, I think one of the biggest driving forces behind this series is getting to learn the real identities of these characters, which I like because it's a little different than what we saw from the previous SAOs. That and setting it in the world of Gale makes it really high-octane exciting and visually a lot different. Really, this was another solid addition to Gale Online, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of this one right here. The pacing might be a little slow for some people thus far, but still, like I said, I think the best thing about this series is just the characters, the showcasing them, and getting to see what they're truly going to be like in real life. And as the episode goes on, you get to see that you can't judge these characters by what they look like. like they're all going to be completely different in the RL. So there it is. That's my thoughts on the episode. I'm giving this one right here a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a little slower paced than some of the previous episodes, but it was still really exciting, and that twist ending was something that I was really looking forward to seeing, and I can't wait to see where it's all going to be headed from here. Llen is a really interesting character for SAO. I was watching the series with a friend, and he could not stand it. He hates the fact that the character is pink and cute and adorable, but honestly, I like that. It makes it so that you can't quite immediately judge the character. You think, oh, she's just going to be that, but no, she constantly proves herself throughout the entire series, and I can't wait to see how far the cute little pink devil is going to go. So that's my thoughts on the episode. I'd love to get yours, though. You can tell me all of them in the comment section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to check out the channel for other anime reviews and discussions. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down, baby.